Okay, good morning. Our project for today is to begin an introduction to our epic poem, Beowulf, okay? So I'm going to be giving you key facts that are very important that you guys know for your upcoming test, okay? Very important. Beowulf has no authors. Why? Because it was orally spoken. So at the moment, we're going to know that Beowulf does not have an author. However, we have a person that has, or they had the purpose of translating this text. And the name of that person is Burton Raffel. You have it in your book, okay? Beowulf apparently was written from 750 to 1000. And that will be 11th century. So we're going to concentrate right here on this 1000, okay? So if in the test I ask you what is going to be, for example, the date that Beowulf was written, in that case we're going to concentrate on 11th century and 1000, okay? Very important. Beowulf is going to be divided into 3 parts. And there are going to be 3 major fights that Beowulf is going to have. Beowulf will have 3 major fights, and that's going to be our division of our poem. Fight number 1, fight number 2, fight number 3. As we read the poem, we're going to know which ones are those fights, okay? Very important. When we read the poem, we're going to see a lot of Geatland and the Danes and Geatland and the Danes. So we have the Danes and the Geats. The Danes is Denmark. They're people from Denmark. And the Geats are people from Sweden, what we actually now call Sweden and what we actually call Denmark, okay? So those are going to be the places that we need to set up. Very important. Beowulf is from Geatland, okay? So when we have our problem is going to be encountered in Denmark. So Beowulf will go from Geatland all the way to the land of the Danes, okay? Five elements of epic, very important that you guys know it. They're going to be in your vocabulary. However, I'm going to mention them, okay? Number 1, epic. Number 2, epic hero. Number 3, quest. I'm going to repeat them again after I finish, okay? Number 4, valorous deeds. And number 5, divine intervention, okay? The epic will be that story that is going to tell us the tales about an epic hero. The epic hero is the character or the person that is going to encounter that journey and those problems throughout the story or the poem. The quest is the journey, the long journey that epic hero will have. I'm just summarizing the definition, but you have it in your vocabulary, okay? Valorous deeds are actions from our epic hero that demonstrates its courage. That courage and that strength, that great things that epic hero has. Divine intervention is the intervention from a power out of the normal. For example, if supernatural, if a god is protecting someone, in that case, that's an example of divine intervention, and we're going to see that in our poem, okay? Now, our 3 phases of a hero's journey. 3 phases of the hero's journey. Number one, the separation. So he's gonna just go away or break away from his society and go to that other place. If it's for a battle, if it's for other things, he's gonna just go away. Number two, the initiation. Once he gets to that land, he's gonna meet a king, he's gonna meet other people. So he's gonna get, that journey is gonna be initiated when he gets to land, okay? And number three, the return. When he comes back to his land, back to society, okay? So in this poem, we're going to have that Beowulf is going to be separated. He's going to be gone away from Geatland. He's going to arrive at Denmark. He's going to be initiated because he's going to get to meet our king, Hrothgar. And then he's going to make his return back to his homeland at some point in our poem. Very important. The original manuscript ended in a library called the Cotton Library.
Should we know that for the test?
Yes. Cotton Library. Cotton like cotton. Like actual cotton. Okay, the library that the real manuscript, the original manuscript was held was in the Cotton Library. And it had the name of a famous guy called Robert Cotton. And that's from the year 1571 all the way to 1631. 1571 to 1631. There was a fire in this library, so that manuscript was a bit damaged. There were other manuscripts that were destroyed and completely burned. However, Beowulf was burned, but not a lot, so they got the opportunity to save that original script. And then it was held or placed in the British Museum. Okay. Very important. One of our main characters in this story, or one of our main villains, his name is Grendel, and is a monster. Okay. Have you listened to the tales and the stories about the boogeyman that comes out of the swamps and all of that? That's making a related comparison to Grendel.
And what is he again?
A monster. Okay? If we go back, Grendel is going to have a mark, and that mark is saying that it's a mark from Cain. If we go back to the Bible, remember that when Adam and Eve were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, remember that they became mortal. And by becoming mortal, they had the opportunity to, in this case, reproduce children. So they had two children, two child. One child was Cain, and the other one was Abel. Our tale says that Cain grew angry with Abel and killed him. And Abel and Cain from there on had a mark. And that is the same mark that had Grendel. So they're comparing Grendel as evil as Cain. Also in our poem, they're going to tell us that the parents of Grendel, they are descended also, like they come from Cain also. And they have the mark also. And that mark is going to what? Explain how evil this Grendel is. So this Grendel is a big, big, bad guy. Okay? Our king, very important. Our king's name is Hrothgar, with an H at the beginning. Hrothgar. And Hrothgar is the king of Denmark. Hrothgar with an H at the beginning.
And he was what?
Hrothgar is the king, okay? When Beowulf gets his initiation, he's going to arrive in Denmark and he's going to want to meet Hrothgar, okay?
So he's the king of Denmark.
Of Denmark, Hrothgar. So we already know that our main character is Beowulf. So we have important characters here. Number 1, Beowulf. Number 2, Hrothgar. Number 3, Grendel. Those are 3 main characters so far. Number 1, Beowulf. Number 2, Hrothgar. And number 3, Grendel. Before we end our introduction, very important for you guys to know. The name of the meat hall in Hrothgar's place, it's called the Harald Hall. That's the name given to the meat hall. So I'm going to read the background before we head to the poem, okay? On page 40 of your book. When Beowulf was composed, England was changing from a pagan to a Christian culture. Pagan Anglo-Saxon told grim tales of life ruled by fate, tales in which people struggle against monsters for their place in this world. The missionaries who converted them to Christianity taught them that human beings and their choices of good or evil were at the center of creation. Beowulf reflects both pagan and Christian traditions. The selection opens during an evening of celebration of Herod. So there's going to be a celebration in that hall, okay? The banquet hall of the Danish king Hrothgar. So the hall was created by Hrothgar, okay? Outside the darkness, however, lurks the monstrous monster Grendel. So we're going to know that our first encounter is going to be in the Harald Hall. So that's going to be our first setting in our poem, okay? So basically that will be it for today for our introduction of Beowulf. Thank you.